Hello, I'm Lise-Lotte. I've got Lily beside me and my greenhouse behind me, so you know you're in the right place to join me in my garden for my weekly video on some topic related to connection through creativity. And today I'm talking about taking stock. And you know, it occurs to me that there are different ways that we take stock. Maybe there are two. So the first way is it's kind of foisted upon us. You know, you're forced to take stock. Like there's a divorce or a death or you're moving or like something big has happened, you know, out of your control, but something big, and so you're sort of forced to do that. In my case, in January, I started taking stock, but very intentionally and for none of those reasons. It was really just to start looking at kind of editing things out. And, you know, as I had all my, like at one point I had all my fabric out on every surface in my studio and like piles, and I had piles for this and piles for that. And it's like, okay, what speaks to me? What do I want to play with? What inspires me? What really doesn't? What maybe should I keep or shouldn't I keep? Will I need that color? I don't know. Like it was all of that. And I was kind of reminded at one point when I looked around, I'd gone out to get a cup of tea and I came back into the room and I looked around and it was just like, it was kind of crazy. And I remembered that my mom used to say to me, it's got to be bad before it's good. And I think in the middle of all of that editing, it can look so chaotic, right? It can look such a mess in that middle, messy middle. That's why they call it the messy middle, I guess. But that is all part of it. You know, before you get you have the chaos before you get the clarity. And you might not even know why you're doing it. It just seems like it's time. And I think, you know, if I were to say anything on the other side of that, with having more clarity now, having done all of this, not just with my fabric, but with my wool, with all kinds of creative things, my books, my own clothes. Like I really have gone through various parts of my creative life, and with my clothes, not so creative, but my life, of sort of what fits, what do I want to have in my life, what do I want to be intentional about including in my life, what excites me. And the two things that I was really looking for is that I was looking to focus my attention and expand my vision. And they kind of seem like they are contradictory perhaps, but that's actually what has happened. And I was reminded about a book that I read years and years ago when we lived in a really, really tiny little place. And I remember sitting up till midnight reading it. I was up the next morning at 6 and I was just like, stuff's out, stuff's gone. And it was based on this book that I had read on Feng Shui, which is an ancient teaching in Chinese culture about energy and about flow and about how things are set up and all of that kind of stuff. And I found it really fascinating. And one of the things that I had remembered about that and really spoke to me and speaks to me still is that I was looking at our bookshelf, and in this book it had, which by the way, yes, I don't have anymore, I passed along. But anyway, what I was looking at was just a bookshelf stuffed, like books going this way, books going this way. Like, could you get a little bit more? Could you separate just to try? And the thing in this book was about, in Feng Shui, if you don't have a space on your bookshelf, and maybe the space between the books could be held with a piece of pottery or whatever, but if you don't have spaces, then you don't have room for new ideas, for new learning, for new thoughts. And I thought, yeah, that's good. And I realized, yeah, we had gotten to a place where our bookshelf certainly wasn't about new learning. Well, it didn't seem to stop us from buying books because we had them piled on the side. But anyway, not completely adherent to any kind of one conformist kind of thing. That wasn't really it. But that's the notion, is that you make room, intentionally make room for new ideas. And that is what I have been doing since January in all of these different areas in my life. And I'm so glad that I have, because I feel as though when I look around, although I'm still not completely finished, but when I look around, there's sort of an expansiveness, there's a lightness, And with space comes mental space too. And I think when you have that, you have the possibility for dreaming up new things, for new ideas, for new learning, and for a sense that, you know, when there isn't room for new ideas. But now, for me, I feel like there is. And so I would really encourage you, if you have a chance to do that, is to take just one. This is my suggestion of how to do it. If you're thinking of how to do it, is just take one kind of thing, like just take, like, say if you had fabric. So just take your fabric and take it all out of the place, and then look at it. Like, okay, pick up each one. Do you like that? Does it speak to you? Do you have it because it was given to you? Do you have it because, in my case, because I got a really good deal on it at a garage sale? But I'm not going to use those colors anymore. Like, it doesn't speak to where I am in my life. Maybe it did at one point, but it must not have, because I didn't use it, right? But then also you want to keep some things so that you have, if it's a fabric stash and if you quilt and so on, that you have a bit of a palette. Like, it's not about, to me anyway, I'm not suggesting that it's about sort of a minimalist, completely nothing kind of approach. It's just that you are clearing away the old expectations, the old things that you say in your mind about this thing, or about yourself if you haven't finished something, or just to lighten up on those kind of expectations of yourself, and give yourself grace in that kind of, whatever you're saying in your own mind to yourself. It's so important to kind of lighten all of that as well. Lighten that so that you can create wonderful, inspiring things that make you happy, things that bring you joy and meaning. Because after all, that's really what it's about, is that you are involved in a creative life that brings you meaning and joy and connection. And that's what I hope for everybody who's watching this, and I hope that for you. And I'm actually in the openness, in the lightness and so on of all of what I've created and edited out. I have come up with some really exciting new possibilities, and they involve you if you are interested. And so I will be sort of introducing you to those new possibilities in the weeks to come, and I'm super excited about it. And yeah, I feel inspired. I feel like I also feel that sense of clarity, like when years ago, we had been at a museum in Canada, in Calgary, and it was raining, and that's why we were at the museum, because it was July and it was pouring with rain. And I found one of those singing bowls. It's a metal bowl, and it comes with a wooden kind of, like a stick kind of, but it's all carved. And you take the metal, or you take the wooden piece, and you go around and around and around at the top, it like touching the metal to the wood. And then at some point there's a sound. Like, at some point there's a really interesting, beautiful sound, and it's so age old, this whole thing, right? And I feel like that's the moment where you get the clarity. Like, you're going around, you don't know what sound it's going to be, you've never done it before, so you have no idea, and then all of a sudden you kind of have this, and you can feel it in your hand too, in the thing. Like, it's very subtle, but it's kind of that thing of, when you have come upon something, you don't necessarily know, when you're editing and going through all the stuff and giving things away and passing things along and so on, you don't really necessarily know what that is going to mean. Like, what is that going to make room for? But at the end, there's some moment when you hear that sound, and it's quite lovely, actually, quite powerful, I think, as well. And gosh, I'd love to know, like, what is something that when you have taken stock, what has that made possible for you? Like, what did you need to let go of before something else came along? And what is it that came along in your creative life? I would love to know. Please leave it in the comments. And Lily has just come back. That's why I leaned forward to say hi. Oh, I wanted to show you this. So in the spirit of sort of one thing, I wish you could smell this. I can't remember her name. She is a David Austin Rose, and she is just so citrusy and just lovely, and I just adore her. And I made this this little vase at my friend's house. She's a potter, and I was there and playing, and so I made this thing. Anyway, it seems to be just right for just one rose. I mean, it does well with other things too, but for today and thinking of sort of simplification and stuff, I thought, no, I think just one stem. So I hope that that this brings you some inspiration in terms of letting go of the things that are holding you back, whether they are your own expectations or quite literally the physical space that you're in, and give yourself permission to be open to the possibilities, because there are so many and it's so exciting. And I would love to hear about what your journey is with that. So thank you for leaving a comment and liking and hopefully subscribing to my channel. And I will see you back here next week, and I'll have some other fun things to share. So thank you so much for watching. I wish you peace on your path.